All right, welcome back, you guys. Another session of CEO downloads. And today we are talking about the theme of not giving up. This is a good one because a lot of the time we have this sort of program in us to, go hard, go hard, go hard. And then if things don't look like they're working out, we take our foot off the gas and we stop and we start letting our thoughts take things over, right? And then, as you guys know, you've heard this, you've probably heard us say this before, maybe you've heard it somewhere else. Your thoughts create your feelings create your action create the results, right? So when we think it's not working out, we start to feel crappy. We start to not take action, right? Or do things that we wouldn't normally do or whatever. And it pulls us away from what we're actually trying to achieve. So I'm really excited to dive into this one today.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the chicken or the egg, right? Like if you had crappy sleep last night and you wake up, you feel crappy, you might be more vulnerable to crappy thoughts. Or sometimes the crappy thoughts result in just feeling crappy, and then, either way, you're not feeling optimal, not feeling, totally on and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's a temporary storm and there's ways to move through that and it's not going to last forever and also like on the good news side of things, we've talked about this before. It's because you're up to something big and it's
Yeah.
different and it feels different and it's things are changing in your world and you're causing the change to happen, right? So in a sense it's a clue that you're heading in the direction of something shifting, right? So that's one thing to be kind of aware of, right? In your spaces of whatever you're doing, like where we're applying this right now in this particular download is in whatever it is that you're promoting, whatever connections you're trying to make, expanding your network, delivering, even in delivery too. You want to be optimized, and just doing the work, doing the day-to-day stuff, right? We are sometimes met with the challenge and feel compromised to be able to play full on, completely full on, right? And I'm
Mhm.
hoping a lot of us know what that does feel like when it is happening. But when we can't or we don't feel like we're playing full on, there's ways to find your way out of it and then continue moving forward.
Yeah. So this is one thing that, typically, like I said, the thoughts are the first thing that kind of go, right? And those tend to take over. And then those thoughts, whatever they are, the I'm not good enough, the this sucks, the nobody's gonna come, the
Mhm.
whatever, all of those, the I don't have the confidence, all of that kind of chatter in your mind. That's the stuff that usually happens first, right? You have the circumstance, like whatever's actually going on, the facts, and then those thoughts. The thoughts create the feelings. The feelings create this spiral sometimes, right?
Mhm.
And so, this has happened to all of us. I have certainly been down this road. I have definitely had moments of like, the business is doing pretty well and there's a hiccup, there's something that doesn't work out, there's something that doesn't go the way that I wanted it to. And at some point, there's the spiral of like, am I even going to continue to run this business? Do I need to get a job? Right? Do I need to shut down this program? Do I need to just call the whole thing off? Right? So I have certainly been down this road more than once in the last 5 years. And I think that, we have to have some tools to change those thoughts, but also we have to know what we're changing the thought to.
Mhm.
And the thought that we're changing it to are the thoughts of, it's not over yet. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make it happen no matter what. Whether it happens the way that I thought or not, I'm still going to learn something from it. Right. So we have to change what the thought is. And so the first part is like knowing, okay, what is that like limiting negative thought that we have going on? And the second is, what is the new empowering belief or thought that I'm going to have? right? And then how do we get there? So I know, Bri, you're going to talk a bit more about this part, but just as a couple of examples, like one thing that has worked really well for me is writing my affirmations and using the I am someone who figures it out no matter what, for example. So if I was in that pattern, if I was in that, this isn't going the way that I wanted it to mode, that is one of my go-tos. What about you? What are some of the things that you've done that really help you shift from one to the other?
Yeah, like along with that, prior to coming up with solutions, one is was like it's okay to look at what you feel is not playing out as planned, because that's just data, right? That's how
Right.
we have to recognize it. It's just
Neutral.
data, right? We don't want to ruminate. If we ruminate, we're spending more time than we need to, allowing ourselves to get sucked down a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
right? So that is very critical. Look as much as you need to look to gather the data and then make the next move, right? And in which case, like one of the things too I say too is like, what is the resistance about and where is it in your body? So that brings you back out of your head, back into your body, so you can identify with what it actually feels like. So when it shifts, you know it's shifted,
Mm,
right? That's something to be considering of as well in whatever method you start to discover in your own, self-management, performance management sort of systems, right? So,
yeah.
one of the things that, some of the things that we've done, I could just speak to like my own. Lately, I've been tackling some both personal and business related sort of challenges that are new to me. And you've witnessed me go through these moments. My turnaround's a lot, the feeling seems more extreme, but my turnaround's a lot faster,
Yep.
right? One time I came down here after we finished chatting, you were on a call, and I was on the couch, and there was sun beaming down through the window. I kind of meditated slash napped on the issue, and but was regenerating my mind, right? Then I
Yeah.
got up, I got outside, and I sat for a moment and got still. I can smell the grass outside. It just really brought me back in my body, right? So I changed my
Yeah.
environment,
Great one.
right? I changed my environment. I stopped fighting. I stopped fighting
Yeah.
with it, right? And
Yeah.
allowed it just to kind of pass through me. As a in human design, as a generator, that's actually for the generators out there. That's actually something we're recommended to do is to be in that frustration enough to kind of come through it, right? If we
Yeah.
resist it, it prolongs it. Um, Change the conversation in your head, right? Oh my God, this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna have to cancel again, da da da, to how do I make the most of this situation? What is the worst case scenario? I've told people with doing virtual events that I've created an event. Sometimes I didn't allow enough time to promote it. Sometimes I didn't set a deadline to get my minimum people. And now I am 24 hours before my event and there's nobody registered. So what am I going to do to make the most of that time? I logged in as if the event was still going to happen and I just recorded it. I
Perfect.
delivered the same content in a recorded fashion where I could pull out little clips and shorts and and practice delivering, right? So you're changing your viewpoint, you're changing your way of seeing the situation and just taking it as data and making the corrections along the way. One of the things that we've done with our upcoming retreat right now is we set a pretty strict deadline with who our minimum amount of people is to deliver, you know, and break even versus profit, etc. And it was like we're not going to deliver under these numbers. That's our standard, and we set it hard, draw the
Yeah.
line in the sand, and we fought to get those numbers to that deadline. And then once we got it, it changes it changes the whole vibration of the event now.
Yeah.
It went from possibly not existing to like, holy shit, it's on. And now we have excited energy. We have that energy like we got this event coming up with the level of certainty, right? And excitement. We have this event coming up. We have people signing up. It's, spots are getting filled and that's literally what's happening now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
So,
always funny when we're like explaining to you guys, and so many of you are coming to the retreat. It's
yeah.
always funny when we're like telling you what's actually happening, but
Yeah.
it's not a secret, right? Like we set an early deadline based on what the date of the event was so that we would make sure that we had enough people that we were going to get it together, that, um, obviously we were never going to allow it to not happen, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've been working hard behind the scenes to like build it up and build relationships and do all that stuff and make sure that we can bring these types of events to you guys that we love to do and we hope that you guys love to attend, right? We want to give you guys something different. We wanted to give you guys some opportunities to actually get together and be in person and do something, separate from what you're always doing on the day to day. So this stuff's really important to us. And so we wanted to make sure that we set that early deadline,
Yeah.
that we hit the goal for what that deadline was. And now, like Brian said, there's a little bit of a different energy, right? Because we know that we have this amazing group. I think there are 10 of you signed up now. We have this wicked group of people who are coming. And, we do have some more spots that we're going to be opening up next week or yet, or had to check your schedules or whatever it was. There are going to be some more spots coming up next week. And even until the very last day of registrations for us, which was last week, I think,
Mhm.
we didn't know if we were going to hit the minimum number that we needed to have in order for us to feel like comfortable running it. And we did, but we didn't know it until the last day,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so if we had looked at it on the day before and gone, well, I don't think it's going to happen, so let's just back off. Let's not try. Let's not follow up. Like, screw it. Then it wouldn't have happened. But instead, we followed up. We sent more DMs to the people who had said, yes, I'm interested, but hadn't signed up yet and all that stuff. And we did that. And then all of a sudden, by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock that night, whatever the deadline was, we had enough people.
Yeah.
And so, we couldn't let those thoughts of this might not happen even get into our heads. We
Mhm.
had to just go, no, we're making this happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're doing this. We're sending out all the good energy. We're keeping it positive. We know we have people who could really benefit from this, and we just kept the energy high. And I can tell you that on many occasions, I have been in a launch trying to, sell the group coaching program and all of that stuff where things did not go the way that I wanted them to. And sometimes they didn't in the end either.
Mhm.
But it didn't change the way that I executed until that very last day, right? Because no matter what, you're still building relationships, you're still connecting with people, you're still creating that opportunity for them to come in at a later date, right? So we can't take our foot off the gas and go, well, it doesn't look like we're going to make it. So let's just, chill for the next 3 days. No, like we need to
Yeah.
make it happen. We need to keep pushing forward as if everything's working out perfectly.
Yeah, and you could also look at it as an opportunity to do more promotion, more direct messaging, more relationship building than you typically use the energy of that urgency. Because some of those people that you're reaching out to, it might not be the context might not be there to even share your event yet
Yeah.
because you haven't talked to them for 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is. But you're just realizing now that it might be aligned for them.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless if we end up in that conversation or not, I'm going to still reach out to this person and see how they're doing and have
Yeah.
the conversation because it's been a while anyways. And I think along this way, we did a whole bunch this morning and I found I'm just making connections with people that I might not even tell them about the event right now.
Yeah.
But I'm connecting with them again, which were on my mind for a while to just catch up on some things. And usually sometimes the conversation is just, oh, by the way, we have an event coming up, next month, and we're so pumped about it or whatever. And sometimes it still works out that it might fit for them. But
Yeah.
you just like, I mean, part of this is relationship building too, right? Like the events that I've done really well with promoting and filling resulted in just this constant building of relationships over time, right? And being very aware of the conversation you left off with that person, and the connection that you have, and acknowledging, like if you've been MIA for a while, acknowledge that, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And okay, there's two things that I want to say here that came up in that. So, one is even with some of the people who you haven't talked to in a while, depending on what the relationship is or was, like you might be able to still reach out and just invite them. So, for example, when I was going through this morning, and this is where I'll get to the other piece, when I was going through this morning, we created a Facebook event now. and I was going through people to invite there, and people's names came up that I hadn't thought of in a while, but some of them are my old clients. And
Mhm.
so those people, there are certain of them that I could reach out to directly and just say, "Hey, I was literally creating this event. Your name popped up. I've been thinking about you, or I hadn't thought you however you want to say. Maybe I'm not going to say I haven't thought about them in a while, but their name came up and it reminded me of them, right? Like
Mhm.
something like that. And I wanted to reach out because I'm actually hosting this event. I thought it'd be a perfect fit for you. And maybe you can invite them right away,
Yeah.
right? So there could
Yeah.
be the situation where maybe it's not appropriate, but then there could be somewhere it is. And you can just go straight in for the invitation, right? So that could totally happen. And because of that, I now have an extra, like, even if it's 4 or 5 people that I can reach out to and just invite. And
Yeah.
then the other thing I was going to say is, we talk about this a lot. We've been talking about goal setting a lot lately and, the purpose of it and is it really beneficial and stuff like that, because a lot of people are diehard goal setters and a lot of people are more like, no, I'm not going to bother with that because I never hit them or because it doesn't, like, whatever their philosophy on it is. So of course I am a goal setter. I love to set the goals. And the thing about the goals is not just about, am I hitting it or am I not? The thing about setting the goals is that it creates this opportunity for you to get more creative about how you're going to achieve whatever they are. And so when we sat down this morning, of course, like in our first round of inviting people to this event, we talked to our, inner circle first, right? Those are the people we wanted to make sure got their spots. Those are the people that we wanted to do first. And then we'll go to sort of the periphery, right?
Mhm.
And when we sat down this morning, we started to brainstorm like, where are other places that we can post? Who are the other people we can reach out to? Right. And so just knowing that we have this goal of getting another X number of people started to help us get creative about what we were going to do and how we were going to reach out. And so between us, we found, I don't know, like 10 or 12 Facebook groups that we could post in. And we probably came up with an extra, like, I don't know what it is, 20 or 30 people we can reach out to. And the idea of setting the goal of we want another X number of people was exactly that, right? It was
Mhm.
to get more creative and to really like try to think about how else we can reach some more people who would really benefit from this event.
Yeah, and just to speak to the subtleties of this process. When I look sitting down to it and beginning the process, I first looked at the existing list, the people that we have signed up, just to
Yeah.
say, okay, what is our data on our results so far? And then I just started adding names to people that I've thought of that I've either haven't followed up on or I haven't even told about the event yet, but I'm still in conversations with them, right? I ended up with like a list of like 30 people. But
Mm,
then also there was the groups that I was a part of. And when I looked at it, it's like, where do I start first? It's like, there's two ways you look at it. I could start with this one person, have one conversation with one person, and that's less intimidating
mm,
than looking at a group. Or I can fire a thing off to this whole group, and right out of the gate, my first step has now got 100 eyeballs on this event,
yeah.
right? So what I realized was I'm excited about posting to these groups because every time I hit the button, it's another 25, 50, 500 people, whatever it is that's in that group that have
Yeah.
already started look. So I'm thinking, wow, already like hundreds of people potentially might see this, right? Well, we don't know for sure, but we hope, right? But it feels that way. So, and then from there, I was like, okay, now I can go to the list of individuals, right? And I was already by that point, momentum. I was surfing the wave at that point. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we said anything. We were sitting right next to each other. I didn't think I said anything to you for like an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
was just completely in hyper focus,
Yeah.
right? The only thing I did is I got up and I went outside in the sun and continued outside just to change the environment a little bit. But
And then I wondered why the heck I was sitting inside.
yeah, so
And I
much
also
is,
came about
and I was completely oblivious. I was in this complete zone, right? And I wasn't scrolling. I wasn't doing any of the other things. I was just totally focused on these conversations, and I feel like even more uplifted now than where we were before. And the other
yeah.
thing to share too is like we talked about the minimum number, but also once you break that number, you start now you're into profit or whatever. Um, as the date approaches, like you mentioned earlier, you don't quit. Like there's a possibility. There's some retreats that I've had people sign up like literally less than 24 hours before,
Yeah.
or you reach out to some people and you think that, wow, this might be a long shot, but then they like say, you know what? Oh my God, I was just thinking about you the other day. Thank you
Mm.
for reaching out to me because it's been so long. We've been meaning to get connected. And that energy gets that excited energy allows for an opportunity for a conversation, right? So once you've achieved a certain level of success in your process and there's time left, just put it out into the universe. Ask yourself, what else is possible?
Yeah.
What else is possible, right? And then just write on that. Just keep going, and it's worth it. It's worth it in the end when you're setting up and that those first few people walk in the room for your event or log in or whatever. That's when you turn on, and that's what you're there for. That's your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, even just talking about this and all the planning that we did and, figuring out the deadlines and all the pricing and what the number should be and all that stuff and putting together, like when we actually put together the schedule last week, like everything just feels so good, so aligned. I'm so excited to do this event and get to hang with everybody in person all day, like 9 to 4, full day situation. We're just really looking forward to it. So, I don't know about you, but I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, just so to just summarize kind of a bit of what we talked about here is like whatever it is you're up to, the work that you need to do, whatever the highest priority is right now in your space, um, when you're going through it or when you're experiencing some resistance, sort of identify, notice if and when you are stuck in the old program. The old program's the version of you that got you here, but is not creating the new plan. That version of you, when you're really pushing along and moving, that version of you is going to get louder and stronger. So see that as you know, as evidence that you're up to something. That's the first thing. Identify the resistance, right? The second thing is tap into where it is in your body. Come back into your body and identify where it is in your body, and perhaps what the resistance is about, but without completely ruminating over it. It
Mhm.
is what it is. It's something that was there to protect you in the past, and now it no longer is actually required, but it's just there because you're up to something new. Just be aware of that. And then the next thing would be make the shift. So whatever the shift is, whatever your method is for regenerating your life force, you might even need to take a nap or whatever, sit in the sun, go for a walk, or just
Right.
find that one micro step that's going to get you moving forward, right? I went surfing in California back in the day when I did, you know, Masters of Movement, and it's like one arm after the next, just trying to get out into the ocean first, right? And you miss so many ways before you get on top of it. But once you get on top of it, it just flows, right? So try to get to the point where you're finally on the board and surfing, right? And it takes a bunch of little micro steps to get there. Find the door that's the easiest to push open and just get moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Love this. Okay. So to close out today, we are hosting an in-person live quarterly planning retreat on June the 12th here in the North Toronto Newmarket area, a little bit east actually. But if anybody is interested in coming, if you guys still have questions about it, any of that stuff, shoot one of us a DM. We can send you the details. It's just 97 bucks Canadian, nothing crazy. We have an amazing group already coming together, 10 different coaches and service providers. So really looking forward to that and would love to see you guys there as well.
All right, let's do it. Let's get back at it.
Awesome. Have a great weekend, you guys. We'll see you back next week.
All right, see you guys in the next session.